Hey guys, welcome back. We're gonna be doing things a little bit different this time. We're gonna have a segment where we review movies and shows. It's gonna be called the Curly Headed Review. You want to tell us what show we're gonna review today?
Yeah, so for this week and for the next couple weeks, I guess, since we're gonna be going episode by episode, we decided to review Ragnarok on Netflix.
Yeah.
So it's this Norwegian show where it's about
Nordstrom? No, that's a sword.
I don't know the word, but it's
Norwegian,
yeah,
gods.
Their mythology.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes into like Thor and like Loki and stuff like that.
So he's watched it.
Yeah,
right?
so I've already seen the first season and the second season.
But I just watched the first episode. So we're just gonna review it and basically say what we think, what we're anticipating, all that good stuff.
And this is the first time we're doing like a review channel-ish. This isn't a review channel, but it's a part of our channel.
Review segment.
Yeah, it's a segment that we're doing. That we're gonna keep on doing too.
Spoilers though, if you want to watch this and you don't want to get have it ruined the first episode, go watch it first and then see what we think.
How'd you like it? So the very first episode, it points out the main characters, which are Magna.
Oh, before that, it's originally in a different language, Norwegian, right? So the English dub is a little kind of what's the word? Like doesn't really match like their.
Yeah, I mean sometimes. It's like how I was explaining to you. It's like watching an anime when it's in Japanese, but then it's dubbed over.
So it doesn't really match,
it doesn't match all the way.
But I mean, it just depends on your preference. But it kind of started off a little weird. They just you see this a family of three just go into town. Like for one, the scenery over there, dope.
It's Norway.
It's and mountains and just forests, and it's amazing.
It reminds me of Colorado, but actually being in the mountains. It's not like city. It's not like Denver. It's like being in.
It's like going to Estes, I think.
Yeah, I would compare it to Estes.
Yeah, it's just
super
they're going into.
It's in the wintertime too,
and
that's when it pops up.
And it gets hella cold over there.
Yeah, so see the breath in every single scene.
Yeah. Definitely weird looking dude, weird looking brother. I mean, typical mom.
It is a weird family.
Very weird family. It's a family of three.
You could tell they don't have a lot of money, by the car they're driving and by the home that it showed.
Yeah, the way they dress and stuff. Just kind of I don't know. They just, I wouldn't say average family, but you wouldn't really look at them if you saw them. You get what I'm saying? It's just not in a bad way, but just average family. But they go into this town, right? And it starts off with there's some old man, I guess his wheelchair, or not wheelchair, but his automatic wheelchair or whatever. It gets stuck, and then he gets out the car and he helps him out, whatever, typical scene or whatever. And then this old lady, I'm assuming was the wife, maybe, or just
it was just
townsperson?
It's just another townsperson.
Oh, okay, so another townsperson goes up to him and literally just goes he
helps the old man, right? He pushes the wheelchair up the hill, which isn't a super high hill. He just pushes, and the old lady happens to be there. And she watches him, and then that's when she goes up and she brushes his hair or something, or touches his forehead.
Yeah, and then his eyes turn this green, this nice color, not colorful green, but very shiny green, right?
Yeah.
So it's already
so you can tell that's when the story starts, and that's
pretty much.
And then
the
powers and all that start.
Yeah, right there, right away. He gets into the car, right, and then he's literally it's gonna rain.
Yeah, and then it just starts.
And then, but then the brother, there's no cloud in the sky right now.
Yeah.
And then the mom just
I don't know if you missed the part before, but while he was in the car, he was messing with the door handle.
Oh yeah, he broke the door handle.
Yeah. It's an older car, so you actually had to roll your window up, and he had problems rolling it. Up. But after she touched his head, he literally snaps it off, like you were saying.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of subtle just because I'm it's an old car, so I'm it broke off or whatever. But I mean, him predicting the rain and it literally pour, it was kind of weird. It just pours downpours.
And then going more into the characters, so the way they portray him, he's dyslexic, right? So he can't read at all.
Not at all.
He's a super shy kid. When you were looking at him, you're not the greatest looking dude, right? Like when you first see him, you're like, oh, it's just an average kid. Not the best looking dude. He's not ugly or anything.
For a main character.
For a main character, ugly looking dude. I've seen the show, so I've seen the progression of him. It doesn't change that much, but you can see where like the confidence builds into him and starts looking better or whatever. But that's him. The other brother, you can kind of tell he's a little shit. Right? Yeah. Just kind of by how he dresses, his attitude, his whole everything. He's a dickhead, honestly. But he's funny. I think he's funny. If you know like what is it,
I keep wanting to say
Norwegian, the mythology, like you know who the two characters are gonna be.
Oh yeah,
you know one's probably gonna be Thor, and then one's the brother has to be Loki, right? Yep. And right away you can get Loki vibes.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, like mischief, like fucks around too much.
Yeah. Like I said, he's a dickhead.
Yeah. And then, well, he goes into like the class, right? And like there's already like some girl checking him out and stuff. And like just like the example. Like, oh, he gets it right there, and his brother's like, oh, I'll take the seat.
Yeah,
you know,
snatches it from
him, already cock blocking.
Yeah,
and then he sits in the back with like this emo-looking girl. You know, like the misunderstood girl.
Yeah, the typical misunderstood.
Yeah. So that girl is Isolde.
Isolde.
Oh, Isolde, right? So we're probably gonna butcher these names.
Yeah.
These are Norwegian names. No disrespect.
Yeah, we're not saying these right at all.
Yeah, not at all. And maybe we are, but we're probably not.
Yeah.
So yeah, he hits it off right away with her. And then you meet like
you meet the popular kids.
The popular kids. It's like a brother and a sister. I honestly don't remember their names. Some blonde.
I've seen this, and I forget their names too.
And it's like a blonde. It's a blonde, pretty girl, and then it's like brunette. Dude.
Good looking dude.
Yeah,
but you can tell they're the popular ones. They're the ones that have money.
They own like the mountains over there, like the glaciers and
stuff.
They're
the ones that their family has been there for generations. And further along the line, you'll see how they get their money and all that.
Yeah,
but you can tell right away they're gonna be the bullies or whatever in the story.
Yeah, and as it progresses, right, like you can get those vibes right away, like that scene. It cuts to the popular kids like household, and they're you meet their dad too. Actually, before that, they go, him and his mom, Magnus and his mom go into like a gas station, right?
Yeah.
And she's pumping gas, and then this dude pulls up in a car with the ugliest dog.
In a good car, but
and the ugliest dog they could find.
As a raggedy dog.
And I guess he knows his mom.
Yeah, they're friends from a while ago.
Yeah, and they're catching up or whatever. But I'm assuming this is like Magnus' power, right? The dog starts barking at him, and the dog is like literally like eyes are like that's kind of they're the same color.
They're gray green, like a hazy mysterious color.
It was just barking at him literally like ugliest dog you could think of. Like it was like black and like gray, like old.
They like I said, they picked the ugliest dog for this scene, this show.
And they did a good job with that. But yeah, like it's like
dog.
he kind of goes like in and out, like when his powers are like activating and stuff. I guess.
And he gets like voices in his head too, right? Yeah. Like you remember hearing that where
the voices in his head.
He just can't focus because he's hearing all that stuff, feeling all the powers or whatever.
Yeah. And then since they both started in the new school, right? He gets him and his mom meet the principal.
Yeah,
right?
Like I said, he's dyslexic, so he's had trouble at other schools, and he's used to breaking things because he's just kind of clumsy and stuff like that. So yeah, they go and meet with the principal.
Yeah, and they just kind of talk about like his progress. I mean, she seemed optimistic.
Who, the
principal?
The principal?
She seemed optimistic about it. But then, like again, like just weird things like you should close your window or something like that.
Yeah, he starts hearing the voices again.
He's like, you should close the window.
Close the window.
And then the window, but I thought something was gonna come through. But
I thought there was gonna be crows. I remember there being like crows or something.
Like, and then you heard the crows, you heard birds, right? And like it literally just closes and like cracks.
Well, she says something. Somebody says something, or something happens, right? Somebody, I think the principal says something, and then that's when the window just closes on its own. It's not like an automatic window, I guess. Like it's something.
It's like the one you like pull up, right? And then oh yeah, and then he has like one of those is it like desensitizing? Like no one, you know the ones that with
I don't know what they're called, but I know the part you're talking about.
Yeah. So they're like
it's like a fidget thing.
Like yeah, like a fidget thing, like something to play with, like to calm your nerves, I guess.
Yeah. It's like the loops that keep looping no matter how you twist it. It's always like a loop.
Yeah, and he literally breaks it. I'm assuming it's hard to break. I mean, his mom had one on hand too.
Yeah, which it seemed like he does it all the time, but he did it super. He broke it into 5 different pieces.
Yeah.
So.
And then she's just like, here you go, play with this.
So that's only like half of the show. That's the first.
Yeah, it was a lot to be honest.
And it's 50 minutes long if you want to go watch it. So it has like 6-7 episodes per season. So it's not like it'll take you a day to watch the whole season. But that's only the first part. What'd you get? What was your initial reaction just from like that half? From when it got up to like meeting with the principal?
Weird. I honestly, the first half didn't really hook me in right away. You know what I'm saying? No. Like I thought it was like it was kind of just like right away. I don't like the beginning when that lady touched his forehead and then all of a sudden like he has powers. Like I thought that was strange. Yeah. You know, I mean it's interesting, but it's just like it was like literally like the first 5 minutes of
you think it goes straight into the point, right? Mm-hmm. But me watching all of this, like the plot thickens. Like in this the very next episode, the plot thickens, and that's only first half. Once we start talking about
the second half is something else.
From the first
half, I'm not hooked.
I remember me watching the first half of the episode. I was like, okay, this is interesting, but I kind of already want to see him fight or something, right? Because it's Thor. You picture him fighting like demons and stuff like that. Exactly.
So then the second half, right? And I always want to start with the weirdest part of the first episode was so they cut off to the rich family, right? And it's the popular girl and the popular guy in the bathroom.
Yep. They're like talking.
They're like talking, but
they're getting ready for school. I think.
They what?
They're like getting ready for school.
But already weird. I'm like, if they're allegedly siblings, right? Right? They're siblings.
They're siblings.
I mean, from like
from the very first episode, you get the siblings. Family vibe with their siblings.
They're siblings, right? So he's literally. I mean, the kid looked naked in there while his sister is just like watching him like filing her nails or something, right? And they're talking.
She's just in a robe, like
she's just in a robe, but he was in his boxers. Literally, the dad that Magna's mom talked to at the gas station, he comes in, right? And he's just like the dad, and then he just like moves the girl. I guess she was in front of the toilet, or like didn't they have a urinal?
Well, she was sitting on the toilet, but they had like a toilet and a urinal.
Yeah.
And he did kind of brush her away, but she wasn't like in the way.
I think he went like this.
Yeah.
No? He brushed her. Okay, the dad, right? Yeah. While the son and the daughter in the bathroom, literally just takes a piss. Whips it out and like shakes it off like while they're just talking to him.
Yeah.
And then
all three are still in the bathroom.
Well, all three of them in the bathroom. Weird.
They're still getting ready or whatever.
They're still getting ready and they're just watching him too. They're just literally just watching him pee. And then
his back is turned though.
His back is turned.
His back is turned. Like the girl isn't looking at his dick.
Yeah.
But he's in the bathroom taking a piss.
Yeah. And then he like is done, right? They don't even know if he washed his hands. But because he grabs the guy's face, remember?
He definitely slapped it. He like smacked around.
He asked about Magnan, like how's the new kid in school or whatever, and I guess they were saying he was weird.
Yeah.
And then the dad was just like, well, keep an eye on him.
He said, keep an eye on him.
I don't remember him washing his hands, but he grabs his son's face and he's like, keep an eye on him, and goes.
Like a good smack.
Like a good smack.
Decent smack. It wasn't like a hard smack, but it was that one like to get the point.
You know, but I'm just like, this dude didn't wash his hands.
Did not wash his hands at all.
Yeah, weirdest part of the whole thing.
And then after that, it goes into where Magna starts building friends.
It's specifically with the emo girl, Isolda. Isolda. They're basically just talking. Isolda is like a really big environmentalist, like cares about the earth, cares about pollution, all that type of stuff. He was watching one of her videos, really weird video. She was like, I guess she got a fish from the lake or something.
A dead fish from the lake.
A dead fish from the lake. and she like opens it up, and it has like this like goo.
Yeah, it's
like,
just nasty.
Nasty
you
goo.
could tell it was poison.
Poison
pretty much
or
poison.
pollution. Poison. I don't know. But she was basically like, she's basically kind of like the advocate of the town. Like this, and
of course she's like the crazy girl in town because she's the one about the environment
and all that.
So of course she's getting like picked on.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, she holds her own. I liked her character.
Yeah. She doesn't get pushed. I mean, she gets pushed around, but she didn't take it, right?
Yeah. She doesn't take it. You know. And then another one of his powers too, right? I think one of the kids were bullying her. She rides a bike, and the bike was like bent.
Oh yeah.
And then
that was the first part. That was in one of the first part. But yeah, he fixes the bike.
Oh, he fixes the bike. Like yeah, so the bike was like bent, like I wouldn't say almost in half, but kind of.
It's shaped like a V, and a bike's not like the
wheel.
The wheel
was like
they messed the wheel up.
Yeah, it was like this, I guess, right? And then he just like put it back in.
Yeah, he fixed it.
I guess that was part of the first part. But anyways, like they are.
Well, they get put in a group for some.
Oh yeah, so they get put in a group. It's Magna, Isolde, the girl that he was gonna sit with at first. I think that she has a crush on him. I'm pretty sure. Gris.
She's another good-looking chick. Yeah.
But she likes him.
But in the from the first scene when they were like getting assigned seats, even before the assigned seats, like she was the first girl like he looked at, right?
Yeah.
You know, like first day of class,
and then she looked at him.
Around.
Like,
yeah. So they had that interaction, but then they get put in a group, and then that's when they start becoming a little bit more friends, just him and Isolde.
Yeah. And
but yeah, you could tell that they like each other. You could tell there's some chemistry there.
And yeah, and then I think that's when Isolde's environmentalist thing kind of they talk about it a little bit because their topic was democracy, right? Norwegian democracy.
Yeah.
Or I guess in their town, and they're talking about basically like, I guess how they like that rich family owns like literally they own like glaciers.
No.
Or mountains. I don't know. Like.
Well, they were talking about topics to talk about.
Yeah. They brought it up. Yeah.
That's when they brought it up.
And he brought up that pamphlet he found.
Yeah, and one of the scenes he gets a pamphlet in front of their home, I think.
Yeah.
And that's his like contribution to the group. He's like, oh, maybe we should talk about this.
Yeah.
Which is like the town and its environment, right?
Yeah. And then so yeah, they're building their friendship, and then he goes to her house, right?
Yeah, she invites him over, and he gets all happy because you could tell he's a shy kid, doesn't have a lot of friends, and she's like, "Come over."
Yeah, and then her dad happens to be their teacher.
Yes.
Right, which is a little awkward at first. So they're having dinner, and then Isolde mentions that her mom died of cancer, and she was attaching it to like I guess the pollution or like the pollution in the town or in the water.
Yeah.
And then we find out too that Magna's father died around the same age. I think her mom died at 32 and his dad died.
His dad died at 32.
At 32.
Mom died at 38.
38. Yeah.
From what I remember.
And you kind of gets to know like a little insight, like why the three of them are alone. And then I guess they plan a trip to go hike into the mountains.
Yeah.
Right. So they go back to school,
and then they tell the rest of the kids.
They tell the rest of the kids that they're gonna go hike up into the mountains, and I guess it's dangerous or something, right?
Yeah.
And then they were gonna
the rich family is like, oh, remember that's dangerous. Like you're not supposed to go.
We're not supposed to go. Yeah, because they own that part or whatever, right?
Well, how it was brought up is like, oh, they're gonna go to the mountains, or yeah, they're gonna go to the mountains, and then one of the rich girls is like, oh, I mean, you have to be careful. There's signs there, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then Isolde is like, well, I can do what I want.
Yeah.
Essentially, in that sense, like you don't own the mountain. She says that, and then that's when they come back. Is like, our family's on this mountain for like centuries or whatever.
Yeah.
Rich people shit. And then cut to them going to the mountains, right?
Well, before that, they go into the store, remember? And then that lady that touched his forehead, right?
Yeah.
She like warned him. I honestly I didn't really
understand. She
said
the equinox is coming up or something like that.
Yeah. And it's to be careful.
You're gonna be needed or something like that.
Oh yeah. You're gonna be needed. That's like a little warning from that weird lady at the store.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming she's known to be weird because Isolde was like, oh, don't worry about her.
Yeah.
I guess she's like the weird lady of the town.
The crazy lady of yeah.
So then cut to they're going up to the mountains, right?
Yep.
And they like pretty much they're like, yo, we're friends.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he was like they were getting really close, and but prior to that, right?
Yeah, I know what you're
so Isolde happens to be a lesbian, right? So right when he was leaving her house, like when they were having dinner, he knocks over this like I guess her
journal
diary or something, and then out pops out a bunch of pictures of the rich girl, the good-looking girl, Salva. I don't see really bad on names.
Especially when they're in Norwegian.
Yeah, it's really hard. But yeah, so it's just pictures of her like holding hands.
Yeah.
And pretty much like she's been in love with her like since forever.
Yeah.
So they're going up into the mountains, right? And they're pretty much just telling each other like, hey, like, you know, I think we're friends.
Yeah.
You know? And then Magna makes a comment to her like, he's just like, when, like, that's when he asks her, like, how long have you been in love with the rich girl?
And that's when she's like,
and she's just like, forever. And it's just like, well, he's like, I don't know why you're too good for her.
Yeah.
And, you know,
and she gets a big old smile. She's like, oh my gosh, like, I have a real friend or whatever.
And then, of course, his brother.
So what, they're halfway up the mountain.
And
they get to the point where there's advisories of like warning signs of like, you're not supposed to go past this point or whatever. And then that's when the brother texts.
Yeah, and they were gonna go. They were like, you know, forget the warning signs. But then his brother texts him. He's like, hey, come home.
Yeah.
Mom is really sick.
Yeah.
So he was just like, oh, I have to go see my mom. Like,
he has to go check on his mom.
Yeah, and then like they hiked up this whole mountain, right? And this dude's like running downhill down this mountain again, like his powers, like running downhill. And then it cuts to a scene where the rich father, the guy who peed in front of his kids or whatever, is driving, I guess, up that same mountain.
Yeah.
And anyways, we'll get to that part.
Well, no, that's the next part.
That's the next part. He gets home.
No. Well, it's in between. It's like different
kind of all
clips.
the same.
But yeah, the dad the dad is driving up there. He gets out the car.
Yep.
And he gets fully naked.
Fully naked.
Like super weird, right?
Yeah, really weird. Like really weird, right? He gets fully naked. He's like walking up like I wouldn't say like a cliff, but like he's like crawling kind of, but like not on his hands. He's like sneaking up the mountain, and then he looks like a hunter kind of. Yeah, like pretty much. And then there cuts to a scene to a bunch. I thought they were sheep, but I guess elk or deer, and then just like kind of herds of them walking, right? So then they cuts to him like looking at them, and his eyes turn like yellow with like kind of like snake eyes a little bit.
Like the Thriller eyes, like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, like Thriller eyes. Yeah, like his eyes just get all like bright red or bright yellow. And then and then it cuts to him going back home. So then Magna goes back home, and then his mom is literally just putting up curtains.
Yeah,
and of course.
And the brother comes out of the room and he's like, "Oh, she was sick before.
She was sick before.
She was sick like 2 minutes ago."
And you know,
he was just being a douchebag. He just
mischief.
He knew that they were going up the mountain, so he literally just wanted to mess with them. Yeah.
And then it cuts to back to the weird guy. So he literally goes and he grabs a deer.
He jumps like 50 feet.
Yeah, he jumps and manages to grab a deer. Like takes it down and like cracks his neck, right? And literally grabs it by the neck, lifts it up with one hand, and then goes inside the deer and rips
the heart out while it's still beating.
Right? And then it cuts back to Isolde.
Isolde.
She's up at like close to the glacier. She's like taking samples of the water. She's being her whole environmentalist stuff. And she goes into this cave that she finds, right? And as she's going down this cave...
And she's like taking videos of everything. She's
recording taking pictures, videos, all that. And then she gets like this gate where it's like, you know, it's like the rich man's like property, like, hey, like no trespassing, only like special personnel can go in, whatever. And then you go back to the guy and he's like walking up this cliff, right? But again, beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
Like this naked dude, right? Literally grabs out the heart and he roars.
He takes a bite.
Oh, he takes a bite. He takes a bite of the heart and then just roars. And even like Isolde was able to hear it.
Yeah.
Like through the cave.
And then back to to Magna.
To Magna.
He's like running. Because they were supposed to, when he left Isolde up the mountain.
Yeah,
like,
he was going to go back.
Down there.
Yeah,
I'll meet you. She was supposed to paraglide?
Yeah, he's supposed to paraglide back down.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, and it's like, you know.
But apparently she's done it like 100 times or whatever.
But again, this is where it kind of hooked me, to be honest. But really crazy for the first episode.
Yeah, so keep explaining it. He goes like down the mountain.
He goes on
he runs back to the bottom of the mountain. He doesn't go up the mountain anymore. But he sees her paragliding.
Yep. He's just like,
and he's all happy. He's like, "Oh, I'm about to meet her." But then, like, you get the ominous music of like she's paragliding.
Literally, the subtitles ominous music.
Yeah. And then she's going down, and his face starts to change because you can tell she's not in control. And she rams into wires,
like electric wires, like the what's it called?
The power line.
The power lines, right? And like gets zapped and like falls to the ground. He runs after her. She's on the ground, unconscious, and like bleeding from her nose. Yep. And then the guy, the rich dad, drives down, and he's just like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And they go down, and they're trying to give her CPR. She dies.
She did.
She dies. First episode. He just made a friend.
That's very first friend.
I know, his very first friend. And this is an awkward guy. Like if you guys see this, the first episode, you'll know what I'm talking about. Not like I was telling him, like he looks like the guy who like shoots up a school. Like he
looks like Chucky.
He looks like
Chucky.
What you. I said he looks like Chucky. Yeah, really weird guy. Maybe we should cut out. Shoot us up a school.
Yeah, we should watch. But anyways, so yeah, that's the very first scene. We pretty much explained it all. So it was literally nothing but spoilers.
But
this is a review portion.
Well, we forgot the important part too.
What?
Well, after he finds out she's dead. The ending of it. So I mean, it's pouring. We didn't even explain this either. So just to go back a little bit, there's been a bunch of symbols that I guess his grandfather was carving out, like weird Norwegian symbols. They barely touch on it. But anyways, there was a hammer that his mother was using, and it had that weird symbol. Mm-hmm. So at the end, because he just found out his friend just died, it's pouring.
Right? It's at nighttime. It's nighttime, and it's pouring.
And he's obviously having a lot of emotions, right? And he picks up the hammer that his mom had with that weird symbol, and he screams, and he throws the hammer, and it flies in between the mountains, and all this it
flies 1,000 meters.
Yeah, literally, literally, he's in the town, and the mountains are far away, fly throws it towards over there.
1,000 meters isn't that much, 1,000 miles.
Yeah, probably 1,000 miles.
I didn't know that. 1,000 miles all the way to 2 meters. So it just flies super far.
It just flies far.
Super far. Not a normal thing.
But then all the lightning starts going out, and all the lights go out in the neighborhood. Yeah. Probably the whole time.
And lightning's as he throws it, the lightning goes into the hammer.
Yeah, it goes it's following the hammer that he threw.
And then the power goes out.
And the power goes out, and then it ends.
And then he realizes what he just did.
Yeah.
At the end,
he's just
after he's done screaming, he looks at the hammer. And he's like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? What was your
crazy first episode? Crazy. I mean, honestly, it doesn't get crazy until the first half. Maybe 30 minutes.
Well, it's like any typical show where the first 3 episodes are supposed to be boring.
I don't know if you have this. I have this issue sometimes. Finding a new show, it's really hard to hook me in.
Yep.
So I keep on watching, unless it's something that I really want to watch or something that I'm really into. But it's hard to hook me in.
Did this hook you?
It hooked me. I would watch it.
I'm happy because
we're gonna have to anyways. We're not. Even if I wasn't hooked, I'm gonna have to watch it anyways. But I was hooked.
Yeah. And then not talking about Ragnarok. Just talking about this segment. We're probably gonna watch shows, and even if we don't like it. We're probably
watch it. If I didn't like it, I'm gonna be honest. I would watch. I would continue watching. I would recommend people.
But we want to be honest about stuff, so we'll tell you if we think it sucks.
No,
we'll keep watching it.
So first episode, 1 out of 10. What would you give it? Just based on the first episode.
Well, I'm going off.
I mean, it's hard for
from what I think my initial reaction was. I don't know if this is low, but a 6 because it was good enough to hook me, right? Because clearly I watched the rest of it. But like I said, I was waiting for like the fights or something. I was waiting for like some magical something, and there was like little, but I just expected more.
Yeah.
But it was good enough to keep me going to episode 2, 3, 4.
I say the first episode, I give it a 7. Honestly,
I'd give it a 7 now. Now that I watched it again, I'd give it a 7 now.
Honestly, if it wasn't for like the crazy stuff or the weird stuff, like the dad peeing in that because I mean, this sounds weird, obviously, that I'm mentioning that, but like things like that
you'll find out why.
you like why.
No, you'll find out. You'll find out
exactly
why that is not
like
a big deal for them at all.
The girl dying the first episode, his friend. How? Like you know.
I'll tell you now. I feel like that was still messed up.
It is messed
either
up.
way. Like
I
feel like she was a solid character too.
Exactly. Like she was a solid character. Like I wanted to know more about her. I honestly thought she was gonna hook up with the good-looking girl or something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like
she was gonna
fall in love with her, happy ending, and then she dies first episode. Yep. So
and that's how you know it's a good show. Once they kill like main characters right away.
Yeah.
They don't hide it. They're like, nah, people are gonna die.
Yeah,
I think it was a good show. I think the plot is good. I mean, I've seen all of it, but it's just like that first episode is good enough to be like,
yeah,
what the hell is this and why? It helps if you're like into like the mythology stuff of it. I'm into that kind of stuff, so I just wanted to keep watching it. And it's not like the clear like story behind Thor. It's not like Thor's story, but it like encompasses some of that.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, I mean, I think what I appreciate about it too is that Thor. When people say Thor, they think of Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah,
good-looking guy, tall, strong, whatever. Like, if you watch this, you're not even typical. Like, you're the below average. Like,
I mean, he's a bigger dude. He's not like.
No, yeah, he's not. Yeah, they call him fat.
They call him fat in the show.
He's not fat. I don't think.
He's muscular. He looks muscular to me.
He looks like.
He looks like a linebacker. Like if you think of high school, if you played like football, I call him like a linebacker kind of like appearance.
Like broad shouldered, like tall dude. But I'm saying like you wouldn't look at him. He ain't Chris Hemsworth. But I mean like I appreciate it because they're like using, I mean like typical people basically to portray these like gods,
and they look like high schoolers for the most part. This is all in high school, but it doesn't have like a high school storyline, right? You know how like some shows are like, oh, they're in high school. They're young kids.
I would think like college, like freshman year.
Well, they're in high school.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like just
like how they look.
How they look. Yeah, like yeah. I mean, but I
would say like early college.
Like early college, like yeah. But yeah, I definitely recommend you guys to watch it. Tune in for next time.
Yeah, we're gonna do episode
2 and give our thoughts about that.
Any more thoughts?
No. Make sure to like and comment below. Let us know about a series that you think we should watch, a movie.
We do both movies and series. Maybe we might do like a YouTube channel or whatever. Maybe a podcast.
Yeah, about it. Yeah.
But yeah, any suggestions?
Let us know.
All right. See you guys.
See you.